And this book is called My Life with the Wave. In case you're wondering, yes, I do have the book right here. I was able to get it at the library. And this book was based on a story by Octavio Paz. And it was translated and adapted for children by Catherine Cohen. So, does that mean that there was originally a book for adults written in a different language called My Life with the Wave? Let me look into this. Google says that the story is a deeply metaphorical, surreal allegory about the passionate but destructive nature of love. Yeah, I'm not finding much information about the original version. Octavio Paz Lozano was a Mexican philosopher, poet, and diplomat. So I guess a lot of his original books were written in Spanish if he's from Mexico. Since he was a poet, maybe it was a short story in one of these other books that he did. And I will say that My Life with a Wave is kind of a love story. It's about a boy who falls in love with a wave and brings it home. And this children's book kind of makes into more of a funny, fantastical, literal thing. Whereas in the original, it was like a metaphorical representation of the kind of trouble you can get into when you fall in love with somebody, I guess. So Catherine Cohen made the children's version of My Life with a Wave that we're going to be looking at today. And it was illustrated by Mark Buhner. And this presentation was narrated by Scott Irby Rainier. Scott Irby Rainier. What did he do? Because all of the Reading Rainbow narrators are some kind of celebrity. Most of them are. American actor and singer. He was born in 84, which means he would have only been 14 in 98 when this episode was made. Makes sense because he sounds pretty young to represent the story being told in first person by this little boy. He is best known for originating the role of young Simba in the Broadway production of The Lion King in 97. Interesting. He is a former member of the band Steel Train. And he didn't do any other movies or shows except for one episode of Law and Order in 99, in which he played a guy named Eddie Helford. But yeah, it was just one episode of Law and Order and one episode of Reading Rainbow, that's it. And he also played Simba in The Lion King on Broadway, and he was a member of the band Steel Train. Alright, so let's hear this guy read this book, and I will compare the book presentation on the show to the hardcover library copy that's in my hand. Okay, so they got the entire first page here. The story begins with this boy falling in love with the waves, and as they were getting ready to leave, it says, "One wave tore away from the sea. When the others tried to stop her," I assume that means the other waves, "they tried to stop her by clutching at her floating skirts. The wave caught the boy's hand and they raced together across the wrinkled sand." Next we see the wave leaning on the boy's father's shoulders, begging him to let the boy take him home, or take her home, the wave being her. It's a really interesting visual, the way they've got the wave, like, it almost looks like it's solid. Like it's liquid, but it holds its shape, like it's just stand there like a person. It's not shaped like a person, but it's like it's an alive creature in this story. On the next page, they're at the train station getting ready to go home, and they were afraid that the conductor might not let the wave ride home with them on the train. And so the book says, "So, cup by small cup, when no one was looking, I emptied the water cooler and she hid herself inside it." So can this wave, like, change its size too? Because it would have to get pretty small to fit inside a water cooler, I would think. Of course, the first time I watched this when I was 3, I thought the story was saying that, like, the cup, my small cup, and I misheard the part that says when no one was looking. I thought it said, like, the wave had broken his small cup. Then it says, "When we arrived home, the wave rushed into our house." Now on the show, the part where they says, "The wave rushed into our house," the picture dissolves to the next page, and then we hear that paragraph. But in the book, that sentence is actually at the bottom of the train page, and then when you turn the page, we see 2 complete pages filling the entire open section of the book there with no text. It's all a big picture of the wave entering the house and splashing all over everything, knocking over a lamp and scaring the cat. And we see all this on the show too. In fact, we even hear a little meow from the cat. The story continues on the next page. Before, she had been one wave. Now she was many. So I guess it can get bigger and smaller, like expand and contract.